drugs.
Pretty much what we got in here is our veg room.
Sex.
Jesse.
I didn't do anything.
Jesse.
And scandal.
At that point, I was up to here.
Tonight, behind the bud of a medical marijuana processing plant.
So right now what you're looking at is about 250 plants.
Inside the arrest of an Oklahoma adult film star.
What number do we need to call for you?
Whatever.
And the possible scam you need to know about.
Vehicle service contract.
I was real fed up.
Yes, your choice word?
Just for no.
You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 at 10.
And we will get to that in a moment, but first, a misunderstanding in a Metro neighborhood ends with gunshots and handcuffs.
And this bizarre situation unfolding near Southwest 59th and Penn just within the last 2 hours.
And that's where News 4's Bill Miston joins us now live. Bill?
Kevin, Joleen, it's a bizarre story and call it part sheer dumb luck and coincidence. What police are saying is that they've arrested a man for assault with a deadly weapon, and this all starting after he shot at another man who he thought was stealing his SUV. This in the 5300 block of Rockwood Avenue this evening. Police say that one man was driving his SUV down the street when its car alarm started going off. So he pulls over to the side of the road to try and figure out what's going on. Well, it turns out he pulls over in front of a house of a homeowner who also has a nearly identical SUV. That homeowner, thinking that his car is being broken into or stolen, comes outside and eventually fires a gun at the purported suspect, who is actually the victim in this case. That man wasn't hit, but his truck was. Police ended up arresting the homeowner for assault with a deadly weapon ×3 for each time that he fired the gun. Reporting live on the city's southwest side, Bill Miston, Oklahoma's News 4.
Also tonight, more on that dramatic rescue we told you about earlier. 2 men are safe after a joyride along the banks of the North Canadian River landed both of them in hot water, smack dab in the middle of it. News 4's Bill Miston also has this story tonight.
If it looks like there's a pickup truck in the middle of some water, well, that's because there was Thursday afternoon, and it's Cindy Owen's pickup.
He said, "Hey, Mom, I'm stuck in the river. Come and help me."
When you hear that, you have
Yeah.
to be going, what do you mean you're stuck in the river,
Well,
right?
I kind of knew what he was meaning because they ball hog around here every once in a while, but never in the river.
Well, in the river is where Owen's 21-year-old son and friend found themselves Thursday afternoon, dead in the water, when someone called 911.
Our firefighters got up on the bridge over here on 23rd, and they were able to visualize this vehicle that was indeed in the middle of the body of water here.
Oklahoma City Fire's dive and rescue team called in to get the 2 stranded men, deep enough to need a boat, but shallow enough to walk it out and fetch the pair. Owen's son needing help as he's partially paralyzed from being shot in the head on the city's south side this summer.
They were wise not to get out of the vehicle and just to allow us to come and to rescue them. Thankful that they're okay. It's colder now. The water temperature's getting colder.
Owen says her son's friend was driving and that the truck is replaceable.
I was scared to death because he can't walk.
But still some questions.
What made you think that? Water you can't go against at all. There's plenty of places to ride, but they had to go through the river. They're boys.
Maybe providing some type of excuse, keeping them out of hot water, at least this time around.
They probably better never do it again.
Bill Miston reporting he's been busy. Also tonight, police say this person scaled the fence and invited himself inside. A Metro man arrested for trespassing at one of the most heavily patrolled areas in the Metro, Tinker Air Force Base. Court documents say Timothy Garner hopped the security gate surrounding the military base before helping himself to the water treatment facility there. Garner is already on active parole for previous felony convictions. He was released from prison less than a year ago.
Also tonight.
So you have no credit card or cash on you, so we can call a cab for you.
Oh my God.
Well, she was dressed in crimson, but she would soon be wearing orange. An adult film star busted at Bedlam. Tonight, our first look at why officers say they had no choice but to haul Jesse Jane off to jail. News 4's Kelsey Gibbs is live in Norman with this story. And Kelsey, this was after OU's big win.
That's right, Joleen. We do know that the adult film star and Oklahoma native, she was enjoying that OU Bedlam game, and those celebrations left the stadium, but it ended with the actress spending the night in jail.
She pissed her pants. You want to search her?
She was extremely intoxicated.
They're talking about current Moore resident Cindy Taylor, known to most as adult film actress Jessie Jane. Police say they found Jane intoxicated, lying on a Norman sidewalk.
Jesse.
I didn't do anything.
Police tried reasoning with the actress, even going as far as trying to help her find a ride home.
Can we call someone for you to come pick you up?
Okay, yes. As long as you know I didn't do anything.
This back and forth exchange goes on for more than 5 minutes.
No one is saying you did anything. We just want to know if you can follow somebody.
Yes, of course.
What number do we need to call for you?
On that exact one.
Whatever.
You're dispatched to another welfare check. We cannot make it to this time.
I'm asking you to give me a number.
Rocking an OU shirt, Jane's Twitter showed her attending the Bedlam game that night.
Do you have a phone number that we can call for you to have someone come pick you up?
I'm trying, but you're yelling at me.
I'm not yelling at you.
By this point, more than 11 minutes after she was found passed out on the sidewalk, the officer's patience is growing thin. He tries asking Jane if she had enough money to pay for a cab, but she's unable to give an answer.
I'm not making an excuse. I'm not. I have no reason to. I have no reason to lie.
With no money, no phone, and no more options, the adult star was going to jail.
Just take me.
All right, you're under arrest for public intoxication.
Well, Jane was booked in the Cleveland County Jail where her Crimson and Cream was exchanged for Jailbird Orange. Reporting live in Norman, Kelsey Gibbs, Oklahoma's News 4.
Now, first weather from the Forewarned Storm Team.
And from the Forewarned Storm Center tonight, we are carefully tracking severe weather opportunities tomorrow in Oklahoma. Let me show you the setup. Cloud cover picking up tonight across Oklahoma, and this is jet stream energy coming out, and we have a very powerful storm now making tracks directly toward our state, now out in Arizona and Utah. It's been raining heavily out in California, some mudslides and flooding. Enhanced risk now for a large portion of central and eastern Oklahoma, and the highest elevated portion of that enhanced risk in the red hatched area in parts of southern and southeastern Oklahoma for tennis ball size hail, 75-mile-per-hour winds. Sounds like springtime, doesn't it? And tornadoes are possible, especially in the orange and red hatched shaded areas. Let's break this down a little more carefully. Zoom in here and talk about the 5 p.m. time frame tomorrow as that strong storm comes on out. Severe storms are going to develop, and it looks like these are going to be some supercells. They'll track across the I-35 corridor in that 5:30 to 7:30 time frame. Of course, that's a heads up for folks traveling down I-35 with the possibility of some large hail and damaging winds. And there's a continued tornado threat into the overnight hours into eastern Oklahoma. Kevin and Joleen, there's that timeline, 4 to 6 p.m. and then 6 to 8 p.m. and then 8 to 10 p.m. as it tracks into eastern Oklahoma. I'll take a closer look at this in weather and also highlight the tornado threat. That's coming up.
We know you'll keep us forewarned, my friend. Thank you. Tonight, the inside scoop on prescription pot. 4 months after voters gave it the green light, state officials say nearly 20,000 Oklahomans are now card-carrying patients. And tonight we're getting the first look at how one Metro supplier plans to keep up with demand. News 4's Siobhan Bryan joins us with that story. Siobhan.
That's right. Now, Wild West Farms got the green light to grow soon after medicinal weed was legalized here. And while the location of that growing operation remains private, the owner gave us an exclusive look inside.
Pretty much what we got in here is our veg room.
The walk-in is a bit muggy for late November, but the humidifier, lights, and fans keep the plants at Wild West Farms happy.
Right now, what you're looking at is about 250 plants.
Kalen Elston is the owner. He hopes these plants alone will give them about 40 pounds of prescription pot in the near future. Each plant in living soil and separated by gender. They don't have buds on them yet, but what they do have are microscopic insects acting as natural pesticides.
We're going to provide testing on our product. Even though we're not required right now by the state, we want to provide testing because we think that's the route that growers should go to prove that they're not putting pesticides on it.
He says Oklahoma patients should get to know their grower and find out if they used pesticides. But Elston has another job too. He's also been hard at work fighting stigmas against his craft.
I've seen some churches push towards that this would actually be unchristlike or ungodly.
But he says marijuana is natural and that it's been used by humans as medicine for thousands of years.
I think just the biggest challenge is getting people past that stigma that it is something that's bad for you. For us, it's patience over profit no matter what.
Now, Elston's operation is small with plans to expand. He says what Oklahoma doesn't need is for cannabis to be limited to big business because that leads to less competition, lower quality, and less success for mom and pops in the pot industry.
Thank you, Siobhan. From our In Your Corner hotline tonight, complaints against out-of-state extended warranty companies. An Oklahoma senior says she pays for her coverage every month, but they still left her hanging right before Thanksgiving, too. Scott Hines is in her corner.
At that point, I was up to here.
Glenda Bray's laughing now, but the other day she was not playing around.
I was real fed up.
Fed up over her flat tire, and she says getting stood up by roadside assistance.
It says our service is available per 72 hours, period.
Glenda purchased an extended warranty for her 07 van. She thought from Toco Warranty Corporation.
Vehicle service contract.
I just saw him on TV.
Turns out Toco Warranty is only the marketing company. Glenda's actual contract belongs to Warrantech Automotive of Florida. So when her van got a flat, she had to call a third company, Nation Safe Drivers, for help. It's all so confusing, but also perfectly legal. And right there spelled out in the fine print of Glenda's service contract.
We ran our traps here at the department and we made sure this is a licensed company, it's a legitimate company, and it doesn't seem to be one that we really have a problem with.
Deputy Insurance Commissioner Buddy Combs says Warrantech and Nation Safe Drivers both have their Oklahoma license, and Toco Warranty doesn't need one since they're not a guarantor and only sell the contracts. Glenda was happy with the service, that is, until she says the third company, Nation Safe, tried to charge her for service she pays monthly for.
So I called back. And she said, well, Miss Bray, you called and canceled the service. I said, no, baby, I didn't call to cancel the service because I have no one to fix my flat.
Why would they say such a thing?
I don't know. That's what pisses me off.
The In Your Corner bottom line, go over a service contract with a fine-tooth comb before you sign it, since some extended warranties could come with maintenance requirements or a deductible or hidden cost.
We just want to make sure people go into these things with their eyes wide open and they understand what's going to be covered, what's not going to be covered.
Glenda's eyes are wide open now. She's already canceled her extended warranty, and a neighbor felt bad for her and changed her tire for free.
Service it's no good. You know, they're going to lose customers.
Yeah, they lost you.
Yes, they did.
Now, before you enter into a service contract, please do your research. Start with online reviews. It also pays to use a credit card when you make these sorts of purchases. That way, if something happens later on, you can dispute the charge with your credit card company. I'm Scott Hines. In Your Corner.
Thank you, Scott. A Toco Warranty spokesperson says they were unaware of Glenda's complaint. Her account has been credited. Nation Safe Roadside has also reached out. We'll keep you posted. And in the meantime, if you've got something our team can help you with, we've got you covered. Send us an email or give us a call on our In Your Corner hotline.
Now, The Rant with Kevin Ogle.
It is open topic night on The Rant, and anything goes on Thursday. We begin with Cherokee about the no horns down rule for the upcoming OU Texas game. Horns up, horns down. Nobody freaking cares. At the end of the day, it's just a game. And none of these two teams are Alabama. Must be an Alabama fan. It's not our friend Cherokee Ballard. She's a huge OU fan. A little sarcasm about the whole thing. I'm afraid to comment. Wouldn't want to offend anyone and get a 15-yard penalty. Here's David, getting so tired of the over-politically correct people these days. At some point, we as a country are going to have to say shut up and deal with it. You can't please everyone. And of course, it's not open topic night without some politics. Michael Cohen just pled guilty to lying to Congress about Trump's business dealings in Russia. No rant here, just joy. And from the other side of the aisle, I personally think it is ridiculous for all the negative things I'm hearing about Governor-elect Stitt's decisions. Could just be the fact that he's a Republican or the fact that he's an outsider like President Trump. Leave him alone. Let him do his job. And a lot of you wanting to talk football on our rant hotline too. Take a listen.
I just want to know if the Texas football players are going to get penalized for giving the hook 'em horns sign up, like the Oklahoma players are going to get penalized for giving the hook 'em horns sign down.
Mike Stoops, call home.
Talking about the problems they're still having on defense at OU. Thanks to all of you who wrote and called into the rant this evening.
Now, forewarn weather with Mike Morgan.
Well, let's jump into this weather and take a good close look at our forecast coming up. It looks like a spring-like outbreak of severe weather is in the works for Oklahoma tomorrow. It's a heads-up day, folks. Let's take a look outside tonight. It is nice and cool, and our temperature is 47 degrees with a light northerly wind. Temperatures in the metro, it's chilly. Mid-30s on the western side of town, mid-40s on the southeastern sides of town, and skies are now partly cloudy outside. We have some 30s and 40s in the northwest, but we have 50s and 60s not very far away in southern Oklahoma. And here comes the jet stream energy. All this cloud cover now streaking into Oklahoma from the west. Very powerful system here. A lot of lift with this, a lot of spin to the atmosphere being generated. California's had a real blow of a big-time storm today with lots of heavy precipitation out there, mudslides and flooding. Well, this storm tracks directly across Oklahoma tomorrow and tomorrow night. It's an enhanced risk in orange, and the most elevated portion of that enhanced risk in the hatched red area that I have right here. Slight risk in the yellow. Hail size up to tennis ball tomorrow possible, and 75-mile-per-hour straight line winds, and tornadic activity is possible as well. And the reason why all this warm air comes flooding back to the north tomorrow morning, and by afternoon we get fairly warm and humid here in central Oklahoma. Here's the look at future weather here. Stop the clock at 5 p.m. Now, this is a heads up for the I-35 corridor from Oklahoma City down through Dallas. 5 p.m. here. There the storm's going up. They appear to be supercells in nature, rotating supercells here. 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. here. Damaging wind, hail threat with these as well. There is a tornado threat with a few of these also, 6:30 p.m. to around 8 p.m. here, and then after 8 p.m. they accelerate into eastern Oklahoma with more severe weather. Let's take a closer look at this. Zooming into the metro, so Stillwater's in the north here, Pauls Valley's in the south. So here's the clock for 6 o'clock, right around the Highway 81 corridor, 6 p.m. to around 7 to 7:30 across the I-35 corridor. The warm front is all the way to the north of Oklahoma City. By then, we should be in the upper 60s to near 70 as the sun starts to set here in central Oklahoma. That's the instability of that strong storm system coming out. And then as we head toward 9 o'clock, the storms accelerate quickly out of central Oklahoma, again into eastern Oklahoma. Here's another look at that timeline. 4 to 6 p.m. here in the dark blue, 6 to 8 p.m. in the medium shade of blue, and then 8 to 10 p.m. in the light blue, and then thunderstorms possible all afternoon in southeastern Oklahoma. The wind forecast, damaging straight line winds with some of these severe storms up to 75 miles per hour, especially in the orange shaded area. And here's my hail forecast, up to tennis ball. I've raised the hail size just a bit because it looks like the warm air is going to make a big time comeback tomorrow, and the best chance of the higher probability hailstones, the bigger ones, would be in the darker shade of blue, and that is up and down, especially the I-35 corridor down through southern Oklahoma from the metro. Tornado forecast, not an exact science here, but enough wind shear and instability to generate a few tornadoes in Oklahoma tomorrow, especially in the brighter red shaded area, and give or take about F2 intensity possible. We'll track that very carefully. Here's another look at the metro 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. timeline for tomorrow. Tornado threat is generally low. It is not zero, but it's low, but it's definitely measurable, and up to golf ball size hail and 75-mile-per-hour winds are possible with the most severe storms that'll be rolling through the metro between that 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. time frame. 41 are low tonight, but 50s and 60s tonight in southeastern Oklahoma, and 68 degrees tomorrow, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms. The metro should see some 70s on the southern side of the metro. Shawnee 71, Norman 70 tomorrow. Cooler in northwestern Oklahoma, western Oklahoma, no severe weather threat here, but in the mid 70s and all of southern Oklahoma for daytime highs. By 9 o'clock, that chance of storms ends in Oklahoma City, pushes off to our east over through Stillwater and Tulsa and McAllister with a continued severe weather threat. And then we talk about the precipitation totals from 0 to about 3/10 of an inch for Oklahoma City. And then later next week, next Friday, it looks like a major system heading our way a week away. Here's Saturday's weather, 60 in Oklahoma City and windy, and Sunday's weather, 48 degrees, cooling off. And by Sunday evening, a rain-snow mix will develop and push into western Oklahoma, and Monday morning, it looks like we've got some snow heading for portions of central Oklahoma with 29 degrees. And here's the snow forecast for Sunday night and Monday morning, coming out of the Texas Panhandle into western Oklahoma and also into central Oklahoma. Could get a dusting on the grassy surfaces Monday morning. of next week right here in Oklahoma City. So tomorrow, definitely tracking that risk. It's a heads-up day. Stay forewarned, stay weather aware. 68 degrees, 60 and windy on Saturday, 48 on Sunday. Morning snow Monday morning, 35 for a high. Cold Tuesday, and then another system coming up Friday of next week. And that is your 7-day +4 tonight.
Thank you, Mike. Excitement building for OU's big matchup against Texas this weekend.
And of course, everyone wants to talk, and you heard a little while ago on the rant about horns down, what a former Longhorn player says about it.
You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 at 10 with Joleen Chaney, Kevin Ogle, Mike Morgan, Brian Brinkley, and Scott Hines in your corner. Oklahoma's News 4, looking out for you. Now, sports with Brian Brinkley.
Oklahoma quarterback Kyler Murray was named today one of 11 finalists for the Manning Award, which goes to the nation's top quarterback and includes play in bowl games. Baker Mayfield won the Manning Award last year. More on him in a moment. But the talk this week is about OU Texas Part 2. The Sooners and Longhorns meet Saturday at 11 a.m. in Arlington in the Big 12 championship game. You can bet OU fans will be showing the horns down, but officials have said if Sooner players do it, it could be a penalty. So what does Texas think about all this? Former Longhorn linebacker Emmanuel Acho weighed in today on ESPN.
Even when y'all throw the horns down, it made my blood boil as a Longhorn alum. But I love it. It's what the game is about. If they score, throw the horns down. If they get a sack, throw the horns down, because guess what? When the Longhorns make their big plays, they're going to throw them up. So if the other team decides to make a big play and rub it in your face, that's the game of football, and that's why we love the game of football. It is a trash decision and a trash ruling.
Leave it to the Big 12. And the Central Oklahoma Broncos will wrap up their season this Saturday when they face Angelo State in the Heart of Texas Bowl in Waco, Texas. You can see the game on our sister station, KAUT 43 at 4 o'clock Saturday. UCO 7-4 on the season. And talking about Baker Mayfield, he was named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month today. In 3 games for the Cleveland Browns, Mayfield completed 74% of his passes, threw for 9 touchdowns, and just 1 interception as Cleveland went 2-1 after the firing of Hugh Jackson. We'll talk about Trae Young and the Hawks coming to town when we come back. Stay with us. Former Sooner and Norman North Star Trae Young will play his only NBA game this season in Oklahoma tomorrow night when the Atlanta Hawks visit the Thunder for a 7 o'clock tip-off. Young was in town today, and he spent some time at the Children's Center in Bethany where he met a future basketball star.
You play basketball?
Yeah.
You do? What position?
I mean, I could play center, but I'm way too short for that, so.
You can play all the positions then.
You got a game against the Thunder?
Yeah, I got a game against Thunder tomorrow.
Good luck.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
The kid's right. The Hawks are just 5-17 on the season. We're back with more after this.
Folks, looks like severe weather tomorrow, especially in the orange and red. Caution down I-35 to Texas as well. We'll keep you forewarned.
I know you will. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for joining us.
See you tomorrow.